Hello, I'm Hannah Lythe, and I'm the Senior Product and UX Manager at the Tate.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm a client partner at Torchbox.
Hi, I'm Lily Daniel. I'm the delivery manager at Tate.
Hi, my name is Xenia Lustgarten, and I'm a product manager at Tate.
Search is one of the most important tools on our website, and we have over 1.3 million visitors to tate.org.uk each month. Search is often their starting point. If you know what you're looking for, search should take you straight there. And if you don't know what you're looking for, search should guide you along the way. Tate's website holds a vast collection of art. It holds a vast collection of information and also content. But without meaningful prioritization or categorization, search results were often returning everything instead of what was most useful. We knew we could make it better for our users, so we partnered with Torchbox to rethink search, improve findability, and truly support discovery.
Search isn't just a utility, but really the start of a journey. The user's intent might be as simple as buying a ticket to an exhibition they've heard about, but there's so much more for them to discover. I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone listening, though it can often be a surprise for people outside of the sector, but museums have incredibly content-rich websites. Our unique selling point isn't just the collection we care for, but also the expertise that comes along with it. There's so much amazing work being done by colleagues throughout the institution, but it's not always immediately visible to a website user. So therein lies the question: how can we help users find what they want and encourage discovery in the process? Extensive research across the institution has also shown that we have a few key ways in which audiences engage with us. And so the question has always sort of been, how can we cross-pollinate this a bit more? How can we show people who already come to our website for a specific reason that there might be more of interest to them? How do we take users that are only on the website to support their physical journey in the gallery and compellingly communicate that there's a rich website to discover? How do we take users that have no intention of visiting the physical galleries because they're just here doing research for an essay and tell them that the artwork they're researching is part of the permanent collection? How do we encourage those users to come and visit in person? We have done so much research into what users on our website are trying to find, but it's a really nuanced question. Part of that nuance comes from our search data being all mixed up, and that took a lot of unraveling, which was a worthwhile and important step. A lot of our traffic is users looking to find information about exhibitions, casually browsing art movements, but it's also parents looking for activities for their kids, academics doing research. The personas are varied, and the audience is quite diverse. Traditional search wasn't working for us. The problem is that our offering is just too diverse. It ranges from all types of events, performances, talks, workshops, to archival items, letters, photographs, objects, to resources for schools, to quizzes for kids, to research papers on conservation. A flat list doesn't convey all that, even if we get the search result cards just right. Though we did try, lots of content modeling and information architecture and UI tweaks, but too much context gets lost. Too much is expected of the user. Cognitive overload. We'd be lucky if the user found what they were looking for without giving up. Expecting someone to get excited about an unexpected result was a wholly unreasonable expectation. Before answering the question of how users could possibly find something they don't know exists, we first needed to address how to help them find what they know exists but can't locate in a sea of results. Okay, so let's address what wasn't working in the previous search, though to be honest, it might be easier to address what was. Past events, so many of them, often performing better than current and future events. There was no clear labeling on cards. We played an internal game of trying to figure out the difference between an artist card, an artwork card, and an event card, all using similar artwork imagery. Not as easy as you'd hope it might be, and a real reality check for us. There was no prioritization or sorting of results. We had no grasp of why certain results that seemed less relevant were performing better than results that we thought were an exact match from our perspective. There were hidden filtering options. We weren't doing a great job of showing users the tools that existed for them to narrow down their search. There was unclear data pointing in different directions. We knew that users were searching artist names, But what did they actually want to find? Was it the exhibition, the artworks, the other events? That wasn't clear.
So there were 4 specific areas where we looked at making some quick wins to the existing search to improve the experience for users. And the first one was around query matching. So, for example, where searching something like opening times was just flooding the users with a number of irrelevant results, we essentially reviewed the existing search rules and found that an OR operator was being used between terms, and that was really the root of the problem. And this was just essentially a simple config change to fix, and addressing the rule logic is just a really easy way of fixing an overload of irrelevant results. So the second area we looked at was around fuzzy search. So fuzzy search is really useful. It can allow tolerance for misspelling. So for example, someone searching Yoko Ono can still find results for the artist Yoko Ono. But where the problem is caused is with shorter words. So own or one returns results maybe for something like Neo as well, which creates a lot of noise for the user. We limited, in this instance, fuzzy matching to words over 4 letters long, and longer words like artist names are much less likely to have false matches in that instance. The third area we looked at was around decay function for past events. So where old exhibitions were ranking above current information, we introduced a decay function, which essentially was based on the event end date. So the further in the past, the lower it ranks. And interestingly, that was actually something that was working in the website in the past in the search, but had been overwritten on an upgrade in the past. So it's worth checking if there's any technical debt that you've got on your website that's causing problems now. The last area that we looked at in terms of quick wins was around synonym handling. So where something like JMW Turner, or a search for that, wasn't finding Joseph Mallord William Turner, we added synonym handling to cater for those kinds of searches. And you can either hard code synonyms, or you could create an admin area where editors can create those synonyms, depending on how many you're having to update.
Once we fixed the foundations, the difference was immediate. We saw fewer zero result queries and more users progressing into collection and artwork pages rather than bouncing. But what mattered most wasn't just the numbers. It was that search felt reliable again. Visitors could find artists that they meant, even if they misspelled their name. They weren't being shown exhibitions that closed 5 years ago, and they weren't being overwhelmed by broad, flat lists. And that's important because trust is the baseline for discovery. Before you can inspire curiosity, you have to prove that you're dependable. So once the foundations were stable, it allowed us to ask a more interesting question. If search is working, what else could it become? What if it didn't just retrieve, but guided? And that's where we started exploring the art of the possible.
This was very much a discovery approach. We didn't want to commit to building anything yet, but we wanted to explore what technology could do for us and for our users at Tate, and how it could improve search. We wanted to see what was possible before making big commitments. And so we conducted the Art of the Possible technical sprint. Prototyping lets you learn quickly and cheaply, and to test out ideas without rebuilding the entire site. All 3 prototypes were built on vector search, a different approach to traditional keyword search that understands meaning, not just words. What is vector search? Traditional search matches keywords. If the word isn't on the page, you won't find it. It's a like-for-like comparison. Vector search understands meaning. It converts content into a mathematical representation of what it's about. So you can search for 18th century romantic painter and find a Turner artwork with your search result without actually saying Turner or knowing about Turner. This also does work with images, which opens up visual search possibilities. We explored 3 different directions, each showing a different way search could support discovery. It's worth noting that none of these are the answer, but they're conversation starters about what Tate's search could become.
So the first prototype that we explored was, instead of a flat list of results, we explored the idea of having a search bar that would display essentially a curated journey. So, for example, if you search for Yoko Ono, you might get the artist page that leads to key artworks, that leads to a contemporary artist of Yoko Ono, to an exhibition that you could visit as well. And really it was around exploring a different way of presenting search results that give users a journey to explore rather than just a flat list of results. And the nice thing is that users can explore those pages without losing their place in the journey, so they can dip in and out really easily. And the way that works is that vector search essentially finds related content based on the meaning of what someone searched for. And then a large language model then re-ranks those results to build a logical journey through that content. And it also generates a narrative as well. So a bit like a tour guide explaining why the next page might be relevant, for example. So for the second prototype, rather than a single list of results, content is then clustered into meaningful blocks. So events would appear together, artists would appear together with their artwork as well. And you can also nicely search by what's inside the artwork too. So for example, you could type mountain and return artwork containing mountains. It might not be tagged in the database as mountains, but we can infer that meaning from the image itself. You might be able to search red and return artworks that have red tones in them, or you could type impressionist for a particular style, for example. And this is really nice because it's powerful for users who maybe don't know artist names or might not know the specific art historical terms as well. And the way we did that is we created these vector embeddings, so these numerical representations of the database for images as well as for text. And that means that we could compare the intent of what users were searching with the artwork's images themselves, which led to some really powerful ways of exploring the collection. So the third prototype that we explored was really around taking the first two further, where search essentially became a conversation rather than a one-off query. So users can ask questions in natural language and then they could refine as they go. So for example, they could ask a question like, who is David Hockney? And then they could say, show me some of his artworks. And then they could see those results and say, actually, I like the look of that one. Show me more artworks that are in the style of his painting The Lilies. And it really creates a deeper user experience. And the way this works is that it's using RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, and that retrieves content relevant to your query. And then we bundle all that up and pass it over to a large language model to generate a natural language response. And the nice thing is that the system remembers context, so follow-up questions work really naturally as well.
We released a new search page, one that clusters results into categories and hints to the users the breadth of content that we hold. We're hoping it serves multiple purposes. A. Helps find them what they're looking for without scrolling through similar looking cards. A painting by Yayoi Kusama, a Yayoi Kusama artist page, a quiz about Yayoi Kusama, articles, you get the picture. B. Shows them the breadth of what's there. C. Communicates what's important to us through the categories that are highlighted. Our goal is to get users where they are going quickly, but also to show them what else might be out there. If you're interested in seeing Frida Kahlo's artworks, wouldn't you also want to know that the exhibition is coming up? That there's a film you could watch and a podcast you can listen to, and texts that have been written for diverse audiences? We want to highlight all the work our colleagues do and get users more engaged with art through the subject already of interest to them. We shipped a brand new artworks page. Previously, users had to explore artworks on a general search page with filters that were hidden out of view. We wanted to create a new focused area to explore the collection without distractions. Aside from being the industry standard approach, it also helped us clean up our data to be able to more clearly see what users were searching for across categories and how their behavior changed on different parts of the website. Having this new singular place to enjoy the collection opens up a new place for experimentation, an opportunity to continue working with our colleagues who work directly with the collection, to learn both from them and our users, to make sure we're providing users what they know, what they like, what they need, but also inspiring them with what they didn't know existed.
We're still in the early stages of measurement. It will take more time and testing to fully understand performance and usability, particularly as we've introduced structural changes like clustering, new tracking events, and new pathways. But what we can say is that we're seeing encouraging directional signals. We're seeing stronger onward journeys from search into exhibitions and ticketed content. We're surfacing and driving engagement to areas that were previously underrepresented in results, like Tate Kids and Tate Schools. And we're seeing users move beyond single result clicks into broader exploration. For us, that matters, because success isn't just did they find one particular page, it's did search help them discover more of Tate. We'll continue monitoring satisfaction, task completion, and behavioral metrics over the coming months. But already we can see that search is becoming less of a dead end and more of a gateway.
Earlier on, we showed 3 prototypes exploring what's possible with vector search. And off the back of that exploration, we decided to take one of those concepts forward to the live site. And we picked the idea of visual or semantic search, letting users essentially describe what they want to see. And what we made is a beta search, which lets users describe exactly what they want to see visually. So type mountain and you would find artworks depicting mountains, even if mountain wasn't in the title or in the metadata. You could type something like stormy sea and find these beautiful dramatic seascapes. You could type old lady in blue and it understands multiple concepts together: age, gender, colour. So what we've done here is we've essentially indexed all of the collection images and we're storing them as numerical values or embeddings in the vector database. And then when you search, the same thing's happening with the words that you're searching for. They're converted to these numerical values, and then we can essentially compare these 2 sets of numbers to find images or artworks that are most similar to your search term. And the exciting thing is that because text and images are getting compared in the same way, a search for stormy sea or I want to see images of a messy bed as text can match images that look like messy beds or stormy seas as well.
Where are we at? So we've been working with Torchbox and an experimental search has been built. It's currently on our testing environment, and the plan is to conduct user testing to understand how our users are using it, whether it is solving a problem for them in terms of discovering new sides of the collection or new parts of the collection, and whether it's delighting our users as well. The way it's been designed is it will run alongside our classic search. The user will be able to select whether they want to search in the classical sense or search in the experimental way. And to distinguish between these 2 searches, we've added a beta label to experimental search. This will help set users' expectation and really indicate that this is a playground of discovery.
1, fix the fundamentals. We all had so many ideas of what can be improved, but the basics were broken. We needed to do the work before thinking about any bells and whistles. We needed to really dig deep and understand both how our search worked and how our content was structured. 2, analyze your data. What is the data saying? Is it really saying what you think it's saying? I'll be honest, ours wasn't, and it took a lot of work with our fantastic product analyst to untangle that web. A good place to start: go on GA4, look at your top search queries, and search them on your website. Do the results represent what you have to offer? Do they represent your organizational priorities? Ours didn't. 3, explore before committing to a direction. So many amazing ideas were floating around us, from our senior stakeholders, from our partners at Torchbox, from Tate's own digital team. It was really important to try a bunch of different approaches in a low-fidelity way. We quickly learned what doesn't work for us, what might work for us later down the line, what might require more stakeholder management, and we're still working out what really does work for us through extensive user research. 4, talk to all your stakeholders. Talk to the creators of the content. They know so much. Who are they making it for? Who do they hope sees it? Meet all the people and don't make assumptions. 5, don't treat it as a one and done. Keep iterating, keep evolving the tool. The way users search and engage with content is always changing. Keep learning from your users and making tweaks. What I really hope you take away from this talk is that search is a gateway to discovery of your rich, diverse, and inspiring content, not just a tool to retrieve information about opening hours. While we know users often search through external search engines and increasingly more through large language models, you still shouldn't neglect your on-site search. It's another way to engage and connect with your audience in a meaningful and thoughtful way.